So we have the start of the Ice Bucket Regatta at Lake Norman Yacht Club of 2026. It's a pursuit style race, and so this is the start of the Ultimate 20s. There was quite a few boats, so they had obviously the most at going at one time. San Juan 21s had already started, a 420, J24, Catalina 30 amongst others. But here you can see the bulk of the fleet was here at this start for the Ultimate 20s. There were the actual leaders, the San Juans, out there ahead of everybody. Later after the start here, just kind of a quick little get up to speed. Really tight, close quarters racing. You know, a little bit of breeze here. It's kind of cove breeze right here where we started. You had to sail up into this basin. A little bit shifty and puffy. Here, you know, obviously really tight quarter stuff. So boat on boat action was pretty heavy for this first little bit. Slam attack in here, slam attack in there. You'll see here, that's Trees Decker coming across on 148 on starboard. And then she had pushed Bill Toole out of the way once, and Bill tacked back and still hadn't cleared, and so he leave out her again because he wasn't quite clear. And Tree's gonna head up to the mark. You see there the J24 going downwind already. Really short windward leg here. There was another, it might have been the Thistle perhaps. Here we focus in on a couple of the boats. They're already almost up to that starboard ley line. You can see here how shifty and puffy it is though. There's another J24 there on the horizon with the Mylar Genoa. They were kind of a bit of an obstacle. They didn't quite know what they were doing. You'll see here later on, it kind of gets in the way a couple times and out of control. Being out of control, Bill Toole there tipping over. Only had 2 on board. Most people sailed with 3 because the breeze was forecasted to be pretty good. You can still see that the puffs, obviously boats are tipping over. You know, definitely have to stay on top of the travelers on these things. But first 2 boats are around. I believe it was Jonathan Few in 14 and then BJ Jones in 151 there, first and second. There you can see some of that crowded windward mark action there. You see that J24 there just flogging, and now the jib's going to be backwinded. It's just all kinds of problems there. But so most of the boats get around cleanly. Here we are downwind already, kind of catching up with the fleet here. Good group of boats. There's a J70, by the way. But you can see some of the kites starting to flog a little bit. Everybody's trying to sail pretty deep, which meant you had to start putting the bow up. Big right-hand shift. You see kites really unstable. But there's a lot of left side of this race course, but yet nobody seemed to jibe and come back over and kind of, you know, gain while you could. Of course, the E-Scow out there ripping around, going, you know, at least 2 knots faster than everybody all the way around the race course. He'd eventually be first to finish, undoubtedly. So there we go, second start, second race here. Again, kind of concentrated on the U20s because there was the most of them. Otherwise, they were just single file boats for the most part starting. And here there was a big wind shift right at the start. You know, granted there's no horn or anything, but nobody was over early, so everybody kind of, a lot of late starters here. But that big wind shift caused everybody to have to start on port, even though some were caught yelling starboard. Of course, it didn't last very long at all because they couldn't lay the line. So there's Bill Toole and crew of 2 there, auto tacking. Like I said, really puffy and shifty, but you can see here, you know, the U20s, they put on a pretty good race amongst themselves. There you go, look at that. Tom Polanski and the crew there just kind of hit it right on port, and all by himself, didn't have to worry about anybody. Really, really nice work. They did round that weather mark first, however, you'll see here in a minute, they had a little bit of crew work failed going downwind. A couple things to note here. The J80 had already caught the Ultimate 20s here. But one thing I wanted you to notice is that mainsail. If you have these solid vangs, you got to take the load out of them. Okay, look at the U20 there in front of the J80. So that was the leader, but unfortunately shrimped the kite and spent most of the time stuck right there and actually going upwind without a head sail. And luckily finally got the spinnaker on board. So too bad. He was the leader and gave it all away. But that boom bang on the main, just the main's not drawing, it's not pulling, it's not doing anything. You got to take the load off of those solid vangs. and let the main actually work for you. Here we are going downwind later in that leg. You can see, you know, some of the U-20s here, some of the crew work there, late jibes, good. Coming across, you know, the breeze is definitely unstable, so you had to kind of keep on your P's and Q's. You'll see him coming in. So the one thing to note here, the white with the red and blue luff on the spinnaker coming into the shot right there. That was the leader, Tom Polanski and crew. Fortunately, they did get the kite back up on board, and now they're drying it out. Still survived though, all in one piece. The eventual winners of the day, I think, were B.J. Jones and the crew there on the blue and gray kite. There's the J80 tracking them down. And the Ultimate 20s. This was the final downwind leg, I think. But really nice day, great fleet. There's the San Juan 21s finally getting past in this pursuit style race.